I think the most exciting landing spot, to be honest, is probably Miami. I don't know if he necessarily fits the track speed mold, but yes, he does have good speed, and he's a little bit bigger than Devin A. Chain that they got there that people think is going to be there. Might be a little bit more healthy and reliable than Jeff Wilson and Mostert. Do you have any thoughts on Miami or any other potential landing spots before we dig down into the rest of the Vikings?
Well, Miami was the team that reports surfaced was heavily interested in Dalvin Cook back in March, and there nearly was a deal, supposedly, according to these reports, that occurred. We don't know what would have been involved or what held it up, but that was also before they went out and drafted A Chain with a pretty significant draft pick, and they seemed very happy with him.
Yeah, I think he was like their first live pick or something, or maybe it was their second. Maybe they had a second rounder. I just know they didn't have a first because of Tom Brady tampering.
Right. I think he'd be good in Miami because we were talking about at some point you got to have somebody that can just put his head down and move the chains.
Or just push his way into the end zone when they're close. Their team is built to score from outside of the 20 more so than inside the 20.
Yeah, that's a really good point that I didn't think of. That you might be looking at a situation where it's a track race between the 20s and how good are they actually going to be? Is this an offense that's going to stall out a lot in the red zone?
Reminds
Miami, I
me of
mean.
reminds me of a couple of years ago when Tyreek was his last year of the Chiefs. They just started playing too high and daring Mahomes to throw underneath endlessly, and they would get impatient, or the bend don't break defense, and that might work against them. And Dalvin Cook would help alleviate that because he could take advantage of that situation. I think other situations that would be interesting would be Cincinnati and Cleveland, both Ohio schools teams would be good spots because they don't have a clear cut backup. I mean, it's not like Cleveland didn't just run two of the top five running backs out for years when they had Kareem Hunt in his prime along with Nick Chubb. And then we're not really sure how set in stone the Mixon situation is. I think we're at the point now where I think he's probably going to stay, but I think Cook would be an upgrade despite them being the same draft class and roughly the same age. I just think Cook's a more explosive player, but he's often injured a little bit.
Well, the team that I would want to see him with that I think would be explosive would be Buffalo
Mm.
because they've spent a lot of time and energy trying to find that air back, but who do they actually have that can be a complete running back? They don't have anybody close that
He
I've
fits
seen.
he fits the window. If you're worried that Cook is getting older, he's still got explosiveness left for another year, maybe two. And if they could win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, I think they'd be more than happy with that. So I think that's a good fit. Obviously, the usual Chiefs are. I think the Saints would be an interesting one, especially if Kamara gets suspended.
True. They did put money into Jamal Williams there, but
I wouldn't. I still think
I
Cook is
yeah,
better.
Dalvin Cook's going to play him right onto the bench if it was ever came down to a direct competition.
Yeah. And they would be good comparing, to be honest. I think Cook could kind of do a Kamara like role, and then Williams could fill in for the Ingram type thing. So, teams I don't think I should be going after him would be like Arizona. I don't think they're trying to win.
Yeah, anybody who's not looking to win in the next 2 years,
Yeah, exactly. But
and
the fun,
anybody that's got their running back situation pretty well settled.
yeah. Well, what's funny to me is that the Eagles would be an interesting one, even though they just added the great stud to DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny for, pennies, really. I mean, Penny was a $1.3 million prove it deal. And I don't even know if they're going to, what's it? They're paying the Lions a fourth round pick like 2 years from now, 2025, I think. A lot of speculation is they'll let him walk and get a 2025 fourth rounder and it's a compensatory. It'll basically just be a wash.
This is Joe Smith from the Midwest Football Podcast. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It all helps us grow our show. Look for our full show, too, anywhere you find podcasts. Links below.